So I reflect upon a moment in my life that was very, very interesting. As moments in my life have always been, it seems like, for one reason or another. But back in 1998, I think it was, my friend Jim, who's now a doctor, and his wife, who's now an educator, Katie, invited my ex-wife and I to New York City to enjoy some time. And I had just come back from South Korea after living in Korea for 2 years, and my ex and I had just immigrated to the US, where she was so surprised at how small Seattle was in her mind, or the rural areas that my parents ran businesses in. So she was excited about the prospect of going to New York City. And so we flew over and hung out with Jim and Katie. And if you ever see this, Jim and Katie, thank you very much for that little time. And I ended up going to a job interview. I applied to this company called DoubleClick. At the time, that was one of the few companies listed on Yahoo, which was the Google at the time. And I reluctantly went. I was kind of depressed at the time, but I reluctantly went to the job interview. I remember the HR recruiter, her name was Kyle Carter. And Kyle was this blonde lady who literally was what you might consider the archetype for a blonde woman. She acted kind of ditzy in the entire time I spent with her. Nice woman, by the way, nice woman. So I'm not trying to disparage her. But first question she asked is, "What job do you want?" I was like, "What do you mean, what job do I want?" Don't you apply for a specific job? Well, the reason why she could ask that question is because this is during the dot-com boom. This is the first time where internet companies were literally like spending money like there's no tomorrow. Our company was blowing through millions. Amazon was literally, I think, losing like 80 or 90 million a year. I can't remember. It was some ridiculous figure that most companies were blowing through. But I was like, QA engineer? That sounds good. So then she puts me on a track where I interview with other QA engineers. Mark, Doug, were the two senior guys on the team. Doug, I think, went to Columbia, or he went to some Ivy League school. Mark Grimble, I think was his last name. Didn't impress me at all. I was just like, who the hell is this, and why is he employed by this company? But, appearances are one thing, right? So who knows? But regardless, I interview with these guys, and I'm not impressed, and I'm worried that I'm interviewing with a company that's ridiculous. Like, it's not worth, applying for, or rather taking a job from. But the person that actually ends up impressing me is the vice president of engineering. So I sit down with John. John is the vice president of engineering. He's very, very persuasive and very dynamic in his appearance. So it makes sense why he is vice president of engineering. But here's the funny thing. He didn't study engineering. He was a drama major who found a way to become the vice president of engineering at DoubleClick. And why, in my opinion? Because he was creative. The question that he asked me, and why I'm even sharing this here today, is basically one of the most incredible questions I've ever been asked in any interview for a job. And I don't even remember any of the interview except this question. He asked me this brain teaser. He asked me, why is a manhole cover round? Think about it. So why is a manhole cover round? Well, I heard that question and thought to myself, oh, fuck, I don't know. In my head, I was like, I fucking don't know. But for the sake of the interview and for the sake of possibly getting the job, I tell John possibly the most creative answer back to him, or at least to him it was creative, even though I thought it was the most stupid answer. I basically said, John, you know what? I don't know. But what I will do is I will go home, I will research it on the internet, this thing that we have right now, and I'll find out the answer for you, and I'll come back and tell you. And he just started cracking up. He just started laughing really hard. And he said, you know what? That's the right answer. You know why? Because it shows you, Brandon, you're the type of person, if you don't know something, you don't give up, just like me. How in the hell did I become vice president of engineering? It wasn't because I studied engineering. It's because I also looked it up. And you couldn't say Google at the time because Google wasn't ubiquitous as it is today. Just as resourceful as he was to get his position, he saw the resourcefulness in me. And I've been resourceful my entire life. If you see what I'm doing with our hacker house right now and the venture capital firm that I'm building, you would think the same. I don't like to brag or like to be conceited in any way, but what I do see right now is possibly building out one of the most incredible organizations in history. And that's because I'm resourceful, I'm creative, and I have to thank my parents for that creativity. And I want to thank you, John, for giving me a great story to tell here in 2025, more than 27 years after you and I met. Happy Sunday morning from Austin.